Hi, this is Scott Holstad, poet, writer, author, and back out of the hospital. Had some emergency surgery. Didn't lose the thumb completely. Had surgery again next month, but I want to get back and do a few more readings. I know one I did a couple readings ago was kind of dark, kind of matching my mood at the time. And I did one yesterday for publication that was a lot lighter, and I'm not sure if or when they're going to use it or put it up. So I want to do something for my channel here for any of you who might see this, and I thought I would read from one of the magazines that was one of my biggest supporters for years and years and years, a commercial music magazine, the premier punk magazine in the world, called Flipside. Some of you may know it if you know punk or music mags. Used to, sadly it's gone, but it was around for a long time, founded in California in the 80s and lasted into the 2000s. Over 120 editions. They started publishing me in the very beginning of the 90s, and they were publishing me into the 2000s. They published me in double-digit issues. They also reviewed a number of my books, reviewed a number of magazines I was in. They were very, very generous to me, and there was some fun stuff in their pages. For those of you unfamiliar with Flipside, it was kind of looked like this. It was largely, or initially SoCal. Boy, that's not looking very good, is it? I haven't gotten this down yet. Sorry about that. But it was usually about 100 and some pages, and this issue, number 89, which I'm not reading from today, featured articles and interviews with Cracker, Drop Dead, Failure Flop, Hammerhead, the Melvins, groups like that, Supernova. They had a relationship with Rodney on the Rock at K-Rock, who legend, and if you don't know him, I'm not going to explain, look it up, but they had a really great group of editors, and one who was really into literature and poetry, Pooch, Patrick DiPuccio, musician like most of them. And for most of the issues, there were 2 pages of poetry. This is January, February 1992, issue number 76, which I'll be reading from. And so their poetry pages looked like this. And they also did a million reviews of music, video, zines, books, all sorts of stuff. And those reviews were pretty important too, especially if you have something of yours that was reviewed. That could be very helpful, or not, just as is with any review. Some of my videos are way too long, and I know that. And I didn't want this one to be way too long. It's already getting too long. But I just wanted to explain that I thought that I would read something from any of the issues of theirs that I have, because I don't have all the ones they published me in. I wish I did, but several times, maybe 1 or 2 issues, 1 or 2 poems, maybe even a review or something, just for something different, because I've been reading from my new book, Surviving Immortality, again, Amazon, published by Alien Buddha Press, came out in October 2025, and also from older poetry collections, and been reading stories and different things, but this is different. So some of these appeared in some of my early poetry collections, which are out of print. You guys sure haven't seen or heard these. Sometimes I'll have something reprinted, often years later, elsewhere. So some of these may have wound up somewhere else in more recent years, but probably not. This first one from January, February 1992, Flipside, number 76, back when they didn't really know me. In fact, they reviewed my first poetry collection, and it's a fairly generic review. The only time they did that, as they got to know me, they wrote a lot more, usually were pretty kind. This first one is called Highway Blues, and this has been reprinted a couple times, but this was typical of a lot of the stuff I was writing at the time, in terms of tone and style, and Highway Blues. I almost died yesterday on the highway. For the millionth time, someone pulled out a fucking idiot in front of me while I was going 65 or so, and stopped, looking like some completely helpless sheep, and burst into tears as I bore down on her, knowing she would die and I would die momentarily. I thought for a long second about not applying brakes and putting us both out of our misery. But then my instinct for survival kicked into gear, and I slammed on the brakes and did a beautiful 360. And the look of ultimate terror and eternal gratitude on her face was better than a Warhol painting or a David Lynch film. And I drove away missing some tread and in need of a bathroom. I suspect I wasn't the only one. They usually wouldn't do more than 1 poem per person. 2 pages does not allow for a lot. Interestingly, those of you familiar with some of the small press poets of note will find it humorous perhaps to see that Lewisham is in here too. Of course, probably count on one hand in the almost 900 magazines I've appeared in. That's not issues of magazines, that's separate magazines. Some of them appeared 10 or 20 different issues, so thousands. Could probably count on 1 or 2 hands the number of times she didn't appear in the same fucking thing. Wishing, R.I.P. baby. So I'd like to mention some of the groups in each Flipside issue that I'm publishing, just for the heck of it. Some of you have been around long enough, or like punk, certainly SoCal punk, will know some of these groups. Corrosion of Conformity, Jonestown, Shonen Knife, if you remember that Japanese group, White Flag, Super Cools, Typo Negative, 1990, the legendary Typo Negative, just getting started. That was pretty cool. So, I hope that was an interesting test. And just so I can do 2 poems and say I did more than 1, I'm going to do another that appeared in issue number 84, published May, June 1993. Damn, this filter. And some of the groups that they wrote about in this issue include the Goo Goo Dolls, Pixies, Possum Dixon, Superchunk, Sunset Strip, Ween, Witch Hazel. So, I mean, if you like your music, you like punk, Flipside certainly was where it was at for a long, long time. In this issue, they published the infamous Oberk, and no one else that Jerry Laughlin. I got him published here. Guy appeared in 3,000 magazines, right? Got him published in Flipside. This little poem has appeared several places. Actually, quotes from it have appeared online. It's called Nothing. It was in one of my early poetry collections. And again, typical of 92, 93 for me. Nothing. Well, it's almost noon, and I've done nothing all day. All my great plans shot to hell. Getting up at 7 and writing 3 new poems, 1 new story, 5 letters, of sending out submissions to 4 new magazines, and making several phone calls all by noon. So I'll just keep drinking coffee and reading from the stack of books on my kitchen table, and maybe I'll go catch a flick, and maybe, just maybe, I'll get half as much done tomorrow. Maybe. Wasn't that brilliant? I never said I was the best writer in the world. I did say I was hardest fucking worker. Hardest working writer for 15, 20 years. Wrote hours a day, 360 plus days a year. Sent stuff out to 5 to 10 new magazines and publishers a day, every day. Had stuff out at over 100 publications every day. Good times. Especially when I was working 15-hour days. Good times. It was worth it. Always worth it. So, I'm not going to do more than 2 flip sides. There's a big gap in the ones that I have for some reason. You can find some on the Internet Archive, actually. You can search for my name on the Internet Archive and come up with some flip sides and some other magazines and even some of my collections. The next one I'll be doing is probably from issue 117, sometime quite later. I won't have any plans, or I don't schedule these, so I'll do it sometime, I hope. But thanks to those of you who have stuck around and listened. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, and share. I don't get a hell of a lot of looks on YouTube. Don't do the right things. It's not my career. It's not what I'm trying to do for a living. I just like to do it on the side. But shares, especially over on X, Twitter, and other places, get some views, and I do appreciate that. And if you want to know anything more about me, you can search Scott Holstad, Scott C. Holstad. My website is hankrolls2011.com. I never know how to end these things well, these videos. So I'll just thank you for being here. Welcome. You follow, engage, comment, share, and hope I'll run into you some other time. Alright? It's the weekend. Have a good one.